All right, so now I'm going to do a 5-digit number divided by a 2-digit number. So of course, once the numbers get larger, it gets a little more challenging. I'm still going to do my chart here and list my multiples, this time of 61, which is not something that you can skip count by. Right, so you're actually going to need to multiply those out in color code here. So I'm going to need to do 61 times 1, 61 times 2, 61 times 3, 61 times 4, 61 times 5. And remember, you want to go all the way up to 9. And I know, why are we doing this? Why do we have to do this first? Because as we go throughout this process, you're going to have to do a lot of these anyways. And it comes in handy as we're working on it. Okay, so 61 times 1 is just 61. 61 times 2, well, 2 times 1 is 2. 6 times 2 is 12. 61 times 3, let's see, 3, 18, so 183. 61 times 4, 6 times 4 is 24, so 244. 61 times 5, let's see, 5 and 30, 305. 61 times 6 is 6, and 36, so 366. 61 times 7, let's see, 427. 61 times 8, 488. And 61 times 9 is 9 times 6 is 54, so 549. Again, this is why math facts are so important. Okay, now I'm going to set up my problem here. I need some more boxes, right? Because I have a 5-digit number that I'm going into. Let's see, 5, 3, 5, 4, 1. All right, so now remember, I'm trying to see how many times 61 fits into each digit. 61 is a pretty big number, right? 61 does not fit into 5 at all. Okay, so we can put your 0 there. 0 times 61 is 0, and subtract to find the difference of 5. So remember, I bring that 5 up here. Okay, now we're going to check again. How many times does 61 go into 53? Well, not at all, right? If you look at our list here, the first one is 61. So we put a 0 again. 0 times 61 is 0. We're going to subtract to find the difference. 53. So I take both of those digits and put them with the next digit. Now, finally, we have a big enough number where 61 is going to go into it sometimes. Okay, we're trying to see how many times does 61 fit into 535. Now, that's a pretty big number. So if we look at our list, we can kind of go towards the end of it, right? So like 61 times 7 is 427. That's pretty close. Let's keep going. 61 times 48. 61 times 8 is 488, which is even closer, and we haven't passed it yet. If we go to the next one, 61 times 9, we will go past it. We'll go all the way to 549. So you can make 8 complete groups of 61 to get to 488. So that goes into that. 61 goes into 535 8 times. Now again, this is why we do the list at the beginning, because now I already know what 61 times 8 is. 61 times 8 is 488. All right, now this is where you got to be careful and make sure you're subtracting correctly. Remember, this 5 can't take away 8 from 5. Right, so you need to borrow from the tens. So this 3 becomes a 2, but you can't take away 8 from 2. So you need to borrow from the hundreds. And this becomes a 12. Okay. So let's see, 15 minus 8 is 7, and 12 minus 8 is 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. So we have 47. And we're going to take that 47 over here. In fact, I'm going to rewrite this. It's getting a little sloppy. And I'll end up with 407. That's still sloppy. 474. So now, again, we go to our list over here and see how many times 61 will fit into 474. And, you know, you can kind of ignore these ones because it's not even really close. But if I go down here, I see 61 times 7 is 427. It's pretty close. You should check the next one. 61 times 8 is 488, which is too far. So 61 times 61 goes into 474 7 complete times. And 61 times 7 is 427. We subtract here. Again, can't take away 7 from 4, so we need to borrow from the tens place. This becomes a 6, and this 14, or 4 becomes a 14. And now I can't subtract. So 14 minus 7 is 7, and 6 minus 2 is 4. We get another 47. It's kind of nice. This 47 is going to go up there. I'm going to rewrite it so it's a little bit easier to read. This 47 will come up here to join with a 1 to make 471. And that number is almost the same, right? So if we go back to our list over here, we see 61 times 7, the number was 427. And if we go to the next one, that's too far. All right, so 61 goes into 471 7 times. And 61 times 7 is 427, as we know. And we're going to subtract one more time to get the remainder. Be careful here. You can't subtract 7 from 1. You need to borrow from the tens place. This becomes a 6, and this 1 becomes an 11. Okay, 11 minus 7 is 4, and 6 minus 2 is 4. So this is our remainder. There's no other places to take it. Whatever you get here becomes your remainder. So the way that you would write your answer, putting all this together, is 877, remainder 44.